Mi alma se consume, anhela los atrios del Señor. Mi corazón y mi carne reposan por el Dios vivo.
En el nombre del Padre, del Hijo y del Espíritu Santo. La gracia de nuestro Señor Jesucristo, el amor del Padre y la comunión del Espíritu Santo estén con todos vosotros. Hermanos, para celebrar dignamente estos sagrados misterios, reconozcamos nuestros pecados. Yo confieso ante Dios Todopoderoso y ante vosotros, hermanos, que he pecado mucho de pensamiento, palabra, obra y omisión. Por mi culpa, por mi gran culpa. Por eso ruego a Santa María, siempre Virgen, a los ángeles, a los santos, y a vosotros, hermanos, que intercedáis por mí ante Dios, nuestro Señor. Dios Todopoderoso, tenga misericordia de nosotros, perdone nuestros pecados y nos lleve a la vida eterna. Amén. Kyrie eleison. Christe eleison. Kyrie eleison. Oremos. Señor, purifica y protege a tu iglesia con misericordia continua y, pues sin tu ayuda, no puede mantenerse incolume. Que tu protección la dirija y las sostenga siempre. Por nuestro Señor Jesucristo, tu Hijo, que vive y reina contigo en la unidad del Espíritu Santo, y es Dios por los siglos de los siglos.
Lectura del segundo libro de los Reyes. En aquellos días, Naamán, general del ejército de Siria, gozaba de la estima y del favor de su rey, pues por su medio había dado el Señor la victoria a Siria. Pero este gran guerrero era leproso. Sucedió que una banda de sirios, en una de sus correrías, trajo cautiva a una jovencita, que pasó luego al servicio de la mujer de Naamán. Ella le dijo a su señora: si mi señor fuera a ver al profeta que hay en Samaria, ciertamente él lo curaría de su lepra. Entonces fue Naamán a contarle al rey, su señor: esto y esto dice la muchachita de israelita. El rey de Siria le respondió: anda pues, que yo te daré una carta para el rey de Israel. Naamán se puso en camino, llevando de regalo 10 barras de plata, 6,000 monedas de oro, 10 vestidos nuevos y una carta para el rey de Israel que decía: al recibir esta, sabrás que te envío a mi siervo Naamán para que lo cures de la lepra. Cuando el rey de Israel leyó la carta, rasgó sus vestiduras exclamando: ¿soy yo acaso Dios, capaz de dar vida o muerte, para que éste me pida que cure a un hombre de su lepra? Es evidente que lo que anda buscando es un pretexto para hacerme la guerra. Cuando Eliseo, el hombre de Dios, se enteró de que el rey había rasgado sus vestiduras, le envió este recado: ¿por qué rasgaste tus vestiduras? Envíamelo y sabrá que hay un profeta en Israel. Llegó pues Naamán con sus caballos y su carroza y se detuvo a la puerta de la casa de Eliseo. Este le mandó decir con un mensajero: ve y báñate 7 veces en el río Jordán, y tu carne quedará limpia. Naamán se alejó enojado diciendo: yo había pensado que saldría en persona a mi encuentro y que, invocando el nombre del Señor, su Dios, pasaría la mano sobre la parte enferma y me curaría. ¿Acaso los ríos de Damasco, como el Abana y el Fardar, no valen más que todas las aguas de Israel? ¿No podría bañarme en ellos y quedar limpio? Dio media vuelta y ya se marchaba, furioso, cuando sus criados se acercaron a él y le dijeron: Padre mío, si el profeta te hubiera mandado una cosa muy difícil, ciertamente la habrías hecho. Cuanto más, si solo te dijo que te bañaras y quedarías sano. Entonces Naamán bajó, se bañó 7 veces en el Jordán, y como le había dicho el hombre de Dios, y su carne quedó limpia, como la de un niño. Volvió con su comitiva a donde estaba el hombre de Dios, y se le presentó diciendo: ahora sé que no hay más Dios que el de Israel. Palabra de Dios. Salmo responsorial. Estoy diciendo del Dios que da la vida. Como el venado busca el agua de los ríos, así cansada mi alma te busca a ti, Dios mío. Estoy sediento del Dios que da la vida. Del Dios que da la vida está mi ser sediento. ¿Cuándo será posible ver de nuevo su templo? Estoy sediento del Dios que da la vida. Envíame, Señor, tu luz y tu verdad, que ellas se conviertan en mi guía y hasta tu nombre santo me conduzcan allí donde tú habitas. Estoy sediento del Dios que da la vida. Al altar del Señor me acercaré, al Dios que es mi alegría, y a mi Dios, el Señor, le daré gracias al compás de la cítara. Estoy sediento del Dios que da la vida. Honor y gloria a ti, Señor. Confío en el Señor y en sus palabras, porque del Señor viene la misericordia y la redención. Honor y gloria a ti, Señor Jesús.
El Señor esté con ustedes. Lectura del Santo Evangelio según San Lucas. En aquel tiempo, Jesús llegó a Nazaret, entró a la sinagoga y dijo al pueblo: yo les aseguro que nadie es profeta en su tierra. Había ciertamente en Israel muchas viudas en los tiempos de Elías, cuando faltó la lluvia durante 3 años y medio, y hubo un hambre terrible en todo el país. Sin embargo, a ninguna de ellas fue enviado Elías, sino a una viuda que vivía en Sarepta, ciudad de Sidón. Había muchos leprosos en Israel en tiempos del profeta Eliseo. Sin embargo, ninguno de ellos fue curado, sino Naamán, que era de Siria. Al oír esto, todos los que estaban en la sinagoga se llenaron de ira, y levantándose, lo sacaron de la ciudad y lo llevaron hasta una barranca del monte, sobre el que estaba construida la ciudad, para despeñarlo. Pero él, pasando por en medio de ellos, se alejó de allí. Palabra del Señor. Esta noche tenemos un relico de Santa Faustina Kowalska, ¿sí? Divina Misericordia. Y tenemos hermanas de su orden aquí con nosotros. Bienvenidos. Por un lado, puedes tener un concepto muy pobre de Dios, en el que siempre tienes miedo. Como si Dios me atrapara por el error más pequeño. Este concepto no es ayudado. Siempre estás preocupado. No puedes confiar en Dios o tener confianza en Él. Por otro lado, podemos dar por sentado las cosas y ser presuntuosos. Soy católico. Tengo toda la verdad de la fe disponible para mí, los sacramentos, el catequismo, y puedo tener una actitud descuidada. Oh, voy a la misa y rezo. No tengo nada de qué preocuparme. Dios me ama tal como soy y estoy seguro de que iré al cielo. No hay problema. Esta presunta actitud tampoco no es ayudado. En el Evangelio se nos recuerda que en 3 años y medio de hambre, Elías, el profeta de Dios, no alivió a ninguna de las viudas de israelitas. Él solo ayudó a una mujer que vivía en Sidón, que no era judía, ni una persona del pueblo con el que Dios tenía un pacto. Sin embargo, Dios quiso que el profeta la ayudara. De todos los leprosos de la tierra, Eliseo solo sanó a un hombre de Siria que no era judío. Cuando Jesús le dice a la mujer, no puedo tomar la comida de los niños y arrojarla a los perros, Él le está revelando que su primer deber es ayudar a las personas con las que su Padre Celestial tiene un pacto. Los que específicamente prometieron al Salvador. Dios tenía un deber primordial para el pueblo de Israel y se suponía que ellos eran la luz para el resto de las naciones y por lo tanto llevaban a todos los pueblos a Dios. Esta es la razón por la cual Jesús le hizo ese comentario. Pero debido a que él ve algo de amor o fe en ella, él contesta su oración y pesar de todo. Jesús sana al sirviente del centurión, porque el centuriano tenía fe. Jesús dijo, nunca en Israel he visto tal fe. Entonces la viuda de Sidón y el leproso sirio también tenían fe, más que todos en Israel, por lo que Dios quiso que sus profetas Elías y Eliseo los ayudaran. Entonces, sabemos que debemos confiar en Dios, pero no dar por sentada nuestra vida espiritual. La pregunta, ¿qué tienen cada uno de ustedes dentro de ustedes? Como amor y fe es lo que Dios está buscando, la pregunta es, ¿lo tienes? Que el Señor escuche nuestras palabras, acoja nuestros anhelos y haga caso de las peticiones de su iglesia penitente. Por todo el pueblo cristiano, para que en este tiempo de Cuaresma tenga más hambre de escuchar toda palabra que sale de la boca de Dios, roguemos al Señor. Para las hermanas en el orden de Sister Faustina Kowalska en Polonia, roguemos al Señor. Para Alex Lara en su día de cumpleaños, para esta misa esté ofrecida, roguemos al Señor. Para no más abortos en los Estados Unidos de México, roguemos al Señor. Y para las almas en purgatorio, roguemos al Señor. Concede, Señor, a tu pueblo una verdadera conversión del corazón, para que obtenga de tu bondad lo que te pide humildemente. Por Jesucristo nuestro Señor. Amén. Bendito sea, Señor Dios del universo, por este pan, fruto de la tierra y del trabajo del hombre, que recibimos de tu generosidad y ahora te presentamos. Él será para nosotros pan de vida. Bendito sea, Señor Dios del universo, por este vino, fruto de la vid y del trabajo del hombre, que recibimos de tu generosidad y ahora te presentamos. Él será para nosotros bebida de salvación. Orad, hermanos, para que este sacrificio mío y vuestro sea agradable a Dios Padre Todopoderoso. Lleva a la plenitud, Señor, las ofrendas de tus siervos, haciéndolas para nosotros sacramento de salvación. Por Jesucristo nuestro Señor. El Señor esté con vosotros. Levantemos el corazón. Demos gracias al Señor nuestro Dios. En verdad es justo y necesario, es nuestro deber y salvación, darte gracias siempre y en todo lugar, Señor, Padre Santo, Dios Todopoderoso y Eterno. Porque has establecido generosamente este tiempo de gracia para renovar en santidad a tus hijos, de modo que, libres de todo afecto desordenado, mientras se ocupan de las realidades temporales, no dejen sobre todo de adherirse a las eternas. Por eso con los santos y con todos los ángeles te alabamos, diciendo sin cesar: Sanctus, Sanctus, Sanctus Dominus Deus Sabaoth, plenis sunt celi et terra, gloria tua, Hosanna in excelsis, benedictus, qui venit in nomine Domini, Hosanna in excelsis. Santo eres en verdad, Señor, fuente de toda santidad. Por eso pedimos que santifiques estos dones con la efusión de tu Espíritu, de manera que se conviertan para nosotros en el cuerpo y la sangre de Jesucristo nuestro Señor, el cual, cuando iba a ser entregado a su pasión, voluntariamente aceptara, tomó pan, dándote gracias, lo partió y lo dio a sus discípulos, diciendo: Tomad y comed todos de él, porque esto es mi cuerpo, que será entregado por vosotros. Del mismo modo, acabada la cena, tomó el cáliz y dándote gracias de nuevo, lo pasó a sus discípulos, diciendo: Tomad y bebed todos de él, porque este es el cáliz de mi sangre, sangre de la alianza nueva y eterna, que será derramada por vosotros y por muchos para el perdón de los pecados. Haced esto en conmemoración mía. El misterio de la fe. Cada vez que comemos de este pan, así pues, Padre, al celebrar ahora el memorial de la muerte y resurrección de tu Hijo, te ofrecemos el pan de vida y el cáliz de salvación, y te damos gracias porque nos haces dignos de servirte en tu presencia. Te pedimos humildemente que el Espíritu Santo congregue en la unidad a cuantos participamos del cuerpo y la sangre de Cristo. Acuérdate, Señor, de tu iglesia extendida por toda la tierra, y con el Papa Francisco, con nuestro obispo Thomas y obispo auxiliar Eduardo, y todos los pastores que cuidan de tu pueblo, llévala a su perfección por la caridad. Acuérdate también de nuestros hermanos que durmieron en la esperanza de la resurrección, y de todos los que han muerto en tu misericordia. Admítelos a contemplar la luz de tu rostro. Ten misericordia de todos nosotros, y así con María, la Virgen Madre de Dios, su esposo San José, los apóstoles y cuantos vivieron en tu amistad a través de los tiempos, merezcamos por tu Hijo Jesucristo compartir la vida eterna y cantar tus alabanzas. Por Cristo, con Él y en Él, a ti, Dios Padre omnipotente, en la unidad del Espíritu Santo, todo honor y toda gloria por los siglos de los siglos. Fieles a la recomendación del Salvador y siguiendo su divina enseñanza, nos atrevemos a decir: Padre nuestro, que estás en el cielo, santificado sea tu nombre. Venga a nosotros tu reino. Hágase tu voluntad en la tierra como en el cielo. Danos hoy nuestro pan de cada día. Perdona nuestras ofensas, como también nosotros perdonamos a los que nos ofenden. No nos dejes caer en tentación, y líbranos del mal. Líbranos de todos los males, Señor, y concédenos la paz en nuestros días, para que, ayúdados por tu misericordia, vivamos siempre libres de pecado y protegidos de toda perturbación, mientras esperamos la gloriosa venida de nuestro Salvador Jesucristo. Señor Jesucristo, que dijiste a tus apóstoles: la paz os dejo, mi paz os doy. No tengas en cuenta nuestros pecados, sino la fe de tu iglesia, y, conforme a tu palabra, concédele la paz y la unidad. Tú que vives y reinas por los siglos de los siglos. La paz del Señor esté siempre con vosotros. Daos fraternalmente la paz. Oremos. Que la comunión en tu sacramento, Señor, nos purifique de nuestras culpas y nos conceda la unidad. Por Jesucristo nuestro Señor. El Señor esté con vosotros. Inclinaos para recibir la bendición. Señor, protege con tu mano poderosa a este pueblo suplicante. Dígnate purificarlo y orientarlo con el consuelo presente, para que tienda sin cesar hacia los bienes futuros. Por Jesucristo nuestro Señor. Y la bendición de Dios Todopoderoso, Padre, Hijo y Espíritu Santo, descienda sobre vosotros y os acompañe siempre. Amén. Glorificad al Señor con vuestra vida, podéis ir en paz.
works. A lot of familiar faces in here. Is anybody new? Is this your first night? Anybody? Okay, I'll go over some of the things that we did last night too. Welcome back. I don't want to repeat anything except the basics, but I would like to say my name is Mike Richard. I organize pilgrimages in Poland, inspired by John Paul the Great and the Mercy Saints, and especially including Sister Faustina Kowalska. And we're in our 14th year now, and for several years our groups have stayed, typically for a full week we stay at the Divine Mercy Pilgrim's House in Krakow. How many have been there? Okay, you know what a beautiful place it is. Last year I invited the sisters to come to Arizona and present a Lenten mission, and they did. And like John Paul II said, from the window when he was made Pope, they came from a far country. Last year they were over at St. Thomas, and now here. And it's pretty rare, or in the United States, for the sisters to be able to do parish missions, because I think they have 8 sisters altogether in 2 communities, one in Washington, D.C., where these sisters are from, and another in Boston. For those that are here for the first time, you can make a free will offering. There's no admission, you know that. And there's some baskets on the table. We did have a lot of merchandise, but really, people really went after it last night. The diaries are all gone, but you can order them online, and the information's at the table. They'll give you a website that you can go to and order them online. And that all supports the work of the sisters. And that's what I want to talk about a little bit before I get out of here, is some of the things that the sisters do that your donations support. And these are based on my impressions from visits to at least 5 of the communities in Poland. They have over 20. And these are some of the things I saw. And sisters told me if I get anything wrong, they'll fix it. They'll straighten it out. So I'm just going to blast away. The congregation of Our Lady of Mercy was founded in Warsaw about 150 years ago. And like I said, it has more than 20 communities in Poland and several in other parts of the world, including the United States, the 2 I mentioned, and then even one in Cuba, I understand. I just found out yesterday. And novitiates in Poland and in the U.S. Sister Inga served as an assistant to the vocations directress in the U.S., and Sister Donata has worked with postulants in the past for formation and so forth. There are about 400 sisters, or over that, around the world, and the great majority are in Poland. They describe themselves as both a contemplative and an active order. And from the beginning, their spirituality has been focused on God's mercy, even before Sister Faustina came into the community. I think that was in the 30s, but around 1930, I'm not sure. And their first ministries were mainly women who wished to change their lives. And this is all kinds of women: homeless, wayward, abused, confused, young women and old. The congregation offers them love and a place of refuge for as long as they need. They do spiritual counseling, vocational training, food and temporal assistance for individuals and families. Jenny Jones, they have a window of life in some of the houses, and people can bring they can bring a baby there that they can't care for, and just place her in the window, and as soon as they close the door, the sisters are on it. Last year we didn't actually travel to Rome, but we were going towards Lublin, and it was near, and we heard in Lublin that there was a baby left in Radom that day. So this is Jenny's a lifetime pro-lifer activist, so that's why I picked on her. Okay, so they also do prison ministry and hospice ministry and so forth. On a previous pilgrimage, this is just a little insight into the priorities, okay? On a previous pilgrimage, I was asked by a friend to arrange masses for several of her friends and family members. And this woman was very familiar with Divine Mercy, and she lived in Poland for a year just to study the language and spent a lot of time down at the Pilgrim's house. So she gave me quite a lot of money in $100 bills, along with for her mass intentions. And so I went in. When you go into the convent there, you go up to the outside part of it where we're allowed to go. You go up just a short bunch of steps, and then there's a window over here, and Sister's sitting back there. And so I walked up and started to talk to her about the intentions, and I had all this money in my hand. She kind of looked away from me, and I thought, oh, she's looking at the money, which is a bad idea. What was happening were two apparently homeless people came in the door, and were walking up the steps, and she bounced out and came around, and I can understand a little bit of Polish. She was asking them questions about their situation, their family, how many kids, and all that stuff, and then she disappeared and came back with two big, like, pots, I don't know how to describe them, and some packages and stuff, so I don't know what was in them, but it was obviously stuff for the family. So I was kind of embarrassed about my thoughts, but it shows you the priorities, because the poorest of the poor. Since Faustina entered the order, they've kind of adapted a new spin on mercy, because they've always done all kinds of mercy, but and that's to promote the devotion to Divine Mercy and the understanding of God's love and mercy for all of us. And I mentioned they don't do too many missions in the United States. This is very exceptional for them to be here as far as the ability to be here, because there are other requirements. Both of them work in the John Paul II Center, the Shrine in Washington, D.C., and it's right next to Catholic University, so they have a lot of their counseling and days of reflection, that kind of thing is done with university students. But okay, all right. You can. I mentioned donations. You can just leave money in the basket tonight or tomorrow night, and if there's anything left out there for sale, you can buy it. And then, if you want to buy a diary, which they really went fast. We had a lot of them out there. You'll get an email address from someone at the table out there. And if you're interested in going to Poland, see me. I'll be back there. We're sold out for everything this year, but we have a newsletter list, and you can get future information. So, okay, so Sister Inga is going to start this one, or Sister Donata, right? Sister Donata is going to be doing this today. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. Thank you for coming. It should be done before midnight for sure. Yesterday we were speaking about the message of mercy given to Saint Faustina by Jesus. Today I would like to share with you like a few thoughts about Lent, what is it about, what's important. Also, something about the sacrament of reconciliation, what Sister Faustina speaks about it, and the Eucharist. Lent is the time of grace, and probably we are used to hear this, and we could say, okay, I heard about it already many times. God is looking for man, and man is looking for God. I would say Lent is the time of great desires and great chances for each of us, where God is at work with His power, and at the same time evil one is at work too. God and man are looking for each other. Someone said that God and man lost their addresses. In the book of Genesis, we can hear right in the beginning God's question, Adam, where are you? And in the St. John's Gospel, when two apostles followed Jesus, they asked him, Master, where do you stay? They are looking for each other. Lent is a privileged time when God is with great love and great desire waiting and looking for me, for each of us. And what Lent is about, sometimes we think, okay, this is Lent, and many people say, okay, this is the time I need to give up something, some maybe mortification, sacrifices, extra work of deeds of mercy. It's important, it is. But we need to see what's the essence, not to miss the essence and be focused on something what's like a secondary. Because sometimes it looks like this, okay? I gave up sweets for this Lent, for God. But in the back of my head, okay, I hope I will lose some weight. Or I'm going to get up much earlier or earlier during the whole Lent. For God, of course. But thinking, okay, I'm so much behind with my work, I will make it up. Or a donation, I will give a donation. I always feel better when I give something to others. So it's not about it. Lent is, where am I? This is the question. Where am I in naked truth? Where am I? Let the time of Lent be a time of desert. Let God lead you to a desert. I think no need to explain people from Arizona about the desert, right? Yeah, because sometimes we are scared of it. So, desert I mean as a time of desolation, time of solitude, also time of suffering might be too. Time when I'm ready, I empty myself as much as possible to be open to God and His Word. And also to get to the greatest desire of my heart. It's not easy. Sometimes we think, of course I know what's my greatest desire. Not really. Because I would say we are busy. It's obvious. We are running. We have no time. And when we ask someone, so at the same time, we are living on the surface. I don't want to say everyone, but in many cases on the surface, just running. I don't want to say that we like it. We like it, it prevents us from getting deeper and deeper. But to get to great desire, and if we ask someone, what's your greatest desire? Sometimes people wouldn't know what to say. Just to solve my financial problems, or to recover from good health, recover from such and such weakness, disease, or to graduate. I would suggest you to find time, to have time for the Lord, to make this time for Him, and try to name it. Start with whatever will come, whatever. So don't require from yourself to get right away deep down to your heart. Whatever, and then you will see, you will go like this. Greatest desires. What is it for me? Let them speak and stay with you. Don't be afraid and don't quench them right away. It's impossible to satisfy it. I said that the time of Lent should be, first of all, the time of prayer, means to be with the Lord, to make this time for Him. Even before I will make any resolutions about mortifications, deeds of mercy, apostolic work, it's all important, but it should flow from my prayer, from my encounter with the Lord. Prayer, what do I mean? Prayer, to place myself in the presence of the Lord. This is the very beginning. Not about reading books. It's important to read books, but the actual prayer, understood as placing myself in the presence of the Lord. You have this privileged, beautiful situation when you have the Lord here all the time, whenever you want, day and night. He is waiting. He is waiting. One of the Polish priests who work in Austria, he went there to work in a very neglected parish. So he was thinking what to do to bring it to life again. So he thought, such a thought came to him, probably there is no better way than to buy the image of the Merciful Jesus and to place the image in the church. He had many obstacles, but he did it. He also ordered in our house in Krakow the relic of Saint Faustina. So they had already the image and the relic. But there were very few people in the parish. So he was struggling and thinking what to do for the people here. Adoration. Every Thursday, I think an hour of adoration. So he exposed Jesus and he was in front of Jesus for this hour with a few people in the pews. And he shared with us, he said, sisters, and I was thinking, I was kind of, like the feeling of discouragement came and said, wow, I've done so many things here, the image, the relic, every Thursday adoration, Jesus is exposed, and people are not really, I don't see, much fruit of it. So he said, I was kneeling in front of Jesus and speaking to him in this way. I don't know if it's not too much, because, they had nothing and they have, maybe now they have too much. He said, right after, such a thought came to me. From the back of the church, remember, it was in Austria, from the back of the church, he heard someone speaking in French. So Austrian, German language. A lady speaking in French. I am here. I love you. I'm waiting for you. Right after he had such a thought, maybe it's too much for the people, this adoration, few people in the pews. And again, I am here. I am waiting for you. I love you. He recognized the voice of this lady. Of course, he took it as the answer. This priest knows French too. Right after the adoration ended, he went to this lady and asked her, do you speak French? She said, no, Father. So this is Jesus, who loves us, who is waiting for us, who is here for us. I'm here, waiting for you. The only thing we need to do is make ourselves available for Him. Place ourselves in the presence of the Lord. That's the beginning of the prayer. So when we realized, I am before my Lord, before my Savior, before my God, Father, who loves me, who cares for me, who is here for me, then we can start conversation. Conversation, prayer, understood as the conversation, means I listen and I speak. I listen and I speak. Because sometimes I think we have this beautiful feature that we love to talk to ourselves. When I was as a novice in Rome, we have a house over there. And, a lady came to me and she started speaking something, she started speaking and I said to her with my broken Italian, I don't understand. I'm sorry, I don't understand. Oh, it doesn't matter, sister. So we are sometimes like this, speaking to ourselves. We are with the Lord. And then thank you, Jesus, for this prayer, for this time. No, first is about listening. So I need this time to calm down my heart, to make myself available for Him. I am here, not with thousands of my thoughts. They are, and they will be. But as much as possible, calm down your heart. Before Him, He will speak, for sure He will speak. So to listen to His word, He is present in His word. He is the Word of God. One priest in Poland, we used to go from time to time to shelter for the homeless. There was an older priest celebrating holy masses for the people there. And I remember him read the gospel and at the end, what priest said, this is the word of the Lord. And usually, what we do, thanks be to God, and we are sitting down. Okay. He was saying like that, showing us the word of the Lord. This is the word of the Lord. So, you better listen to it. It's not Mr. So-and-so speaking now. The Lord is speaking now. We also may have this temptation. Okay, I've already heard it. I know it. Right away when priest starts reading, for example, about the prodigal son, it's pretty long gospel. Okay, I know it. When something like that clicks, tell yourself means you have no idea about it. To myself, many times we have meditation, half an hour, every day. You know how many times this temptation comes. Okay, what about this? I heard it at least 100 times. Okay, let's go, sentence after sentence. Verse after verse. Listen to it. We can also ask Lord, because sometimes, we are like just black letters on the white paper. That's it. Ask the Lord, Lord, please open my heart to your word and open your word to me. Open me to your heart and open this word to me. And adoration. Adoration as I would say, sacred radiation. The Lord is present, what we already said. The Lord is present, and even without, there is no need for many words. He knows everything. He loves when we talk to Him. He wants to hear what's going on. Sometimes it's good to name it. When we are speaking about something, we have to think how to name it, how to express it, so it's good. But adoration is not about this. I don't know if you heard this story. It was in France. Not sure if maybe it was even Saint John Vianney, but it's not the most important thing. There was a countryman who was tending his cows near to the parish church, small parish church in a village in the country. So during this time he had a lot of time. He used to come to church, would sit in the pew and just was sitting for hours. So the pastor noticed that. After some time approached him and asked him, I can see you here every day, what are you doing here? This simple countryman, uneducated, said, I'm looking at him and he's looking at me. That's it. Another thing to start our prayer and to open ourselves to God's graces is forgiveness. If we are in the state of unforgiveness, we are close to God's graces. This is what we pray in Our Father, right? Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive. Forgive me, Lord, the way I forgive. I remember every year we have 8-day retreat. And I remember one of these retreats when the priest a Benedictine monk who led it, he said, sisters, before we start the retreat, think if there is someone you need to forgive. This is the way. We will not start the retreat, or you will not start the retreat. You will not be able to enter the retreat unless you forgive. Because like the channel for graces is blocked, you are blocked to God's guidance, to His grace. I know 2 topics, suffering and forgiveness. We all have someone we need to forgive. We all. So there are no exceptions. Easy? Is it easy? Sometimes, but sometimes it's like when we are hurt to the bones, then it's not easy. We have a dentist, a dentist in Poland. Her husband, I think she was 35 when her husband was shot, she told me, sister, by mistake, someone else was the target. And so she went through a very deep depression, very deep. She came back through the diary of Saint Faustina. She said, "Sister, when I was staying in bed, I wasn't able even to prepare dinner, to peel potatoes, just staring at the ceiling, that's it. Someone brought her the diary of Saint Faustina and said, her friend, and she said, read it, even if you don't understand, just read it." I would say God's grace transformed her. I met her first time, after, like a good few years after she recovered. But she said, "Sister, now I am addicted to Eucharistic adoration. I have to have it every day. And if there is someone who hurt me, who wounded me, then I go to Jesus and I say," she said, not easy to forgive. Then I go to Jesus and I say, "Jesus, you know what happened? You know how painful it is? I feel I'm not able to forgive, but I want. Help me. I want to forgive. Help me." So, forgiveness. Sister Faustina said she knew that he who knows how to forgive, this is what she said, who knows how to forgive prepares for himself many graces from God. And she made a decision she would forgive as often as she would look upon the cross. As often as she would look upon the cross. Lent, the time of reconciliation. Forgiveness leads us to reconciliation with God, with ourselves, and with others. It might sound strange. What about God in reconciliation? I would start with God, because sometimes we don't want to admit that He hurt us most, sometimes. And we have the banner, God is love, God is mercy, I'm here every day or every Sunday, I go to confession, I'm good Catholic. But it wasn't right what He did in my life. I can't accept it, it's bleeding still. Tell Him about it. Tell Him He greets you like this, not like this, not like this. He greets you with His wounded hand, every time. Wounded hand. Now I'm not sure if I said it this morning or yesterday, but I remember I had such a time when during Easter I was thinking, during the Holy Mass it came to me, like I expect now this is the time of joy, Easter, we should really enjoy. And the priest is saying the same words. Before He entered willingly into His passion. I said, yeah, we recall His passion every day. And then I asked Jesus, "Jesus, you still have your wounds. I would be glad, or I would expect, that they would be healed. Now is the joyful time, Easter, and I can see still your wounds." And such a thought came to me. Yeah, the wounds will be always here. I want them to remind you all the time about my love for you. I want my wounds to remind you to the end, all the times, always, about my love for you. I would say, because our longing to be happy is, I would say, we We are longing for reconciliation, to be reconciled. This is what makes us happy. To be reconciled with God. Tell Him if you don't agree, if you want, if you have still bitterness in your heart, tell Him about it. Don't think you can get rid of it on your own, or you can heal yourself. No. I would say that this wound is the place where He is awaiting us. He is there. Even if we have such a info, keep out from this place. He is there waiting for me. Now the question, where am I? The second thing, to be reconciled with myself, to be reconciled. Because there are many things, sometimes it's much, much, much easier to forgive someone else than to forgive ourselves. We are smiling, we are happy, but probably you have this experience. When we meet people here and there, the first reaction is smiling. And right next sentence, the person starts crying. So, we need to get to this place where we are crying. He is there. Not when, it's very nice, it's very friendly when someone, of course I don't want to say we should cry all the time, but there are spots, there are places in our hearts that need help. Jesus is showing us His wounded hands. He wants to reconcile with us. He's not showing us a book, because we need to prepare ourselves for reconciliation, for confession, to go to Him, to prepare ourselves and to go to Him. This is the Jesus, the time of the sacrament of healing, we call confession also. Jesus is like this, like this. He is not showing me a bunch of paragraphs, regulations, a book of rules. No, He's showing me His wounds, His heart. I'm not making my confession before stone tablets. I am making my confession like eye to eye with Jesus, heart to heart. Let's look in this way. To break a paragraph means nothing, right? To break someone's heart, about whom I know he loves me, means everything. Simple example. Someone says, I haven't been in church for 6 months. Sunday Mass, maybe not a big deal. See the same situation in this way. I haven't been talking to my father for half a year. I haven't visited him. The same reality. I missed Mass. Like when we say in this way, from looking from the paragraphs, we think like, what? Nothing happened. I didn't go to church. I haven't spoken to my friend for a few months. It's a difference. So, to break a paragraph means nothing. To break someone's heart means everything. Jesus wants to forgive me. Jesus wants to forgive me. When I forgive to others, it's not because, I'm so great. I don't do it by the power of, my generosity, my love. No. This is Jesus who forgives through me. I'm just a channel for his forgiveness. The same with a priest. He doesn't give me absolution by his own power, human power. The power of the grace of the sacrament of reconciliation doesn't even depend on his holiness, the priest's holiness. No. Jesus is working through him. He said to Sister Faustina, "My daughter, just as you prepare in my presence, so also you make your confession before me. The person of the priest is for me only a screen. Never analyze what sort of a priest it is that I am making use of. Open your soul in confession as you would to me, and I will fill it with my light." And on another place, "When you approach the confessional, know this, that I myself am waiting there for you. I am only hidden by the priest, but I myself act in your soul. Here the misery of the soul meets the God of mercy. Were the soul like a decaying corpse, so that from a human standpoint there would be no hope of restoration and everything would already be lost. It is not so with God. The miracle of divine mercy restores that soul in full. Were the soul like a decaying corpse, so that from a human standpoint there would be no hope of restoration." Yeah, the miracle of divine mercy restores that soul in full. This is the power of the sacrament of reconciliation. When we go, we just see the priest, we go, we say our sins, we get absolution. But we need to remember, during the sacrament of reconciliation, we are immersed in Jesus' blood. He cleanses me with his blood. It's not something, magic. Now it's fine. No, he heals me. I am immersed in his blood. He said about it to Faustina, "When you go to confession to this fountain of my mercy, the blood and water which came forth from my heart always flows down upon your soul and ennobles it." We need to be very honest. I would say, to prepare ourselves, Jesus said, "As you prepare for confession before me, so you also make your confession before me." As you prepare yourself before confession before me, so you are also making your confession before me. And, we don't have to be looking at Jesus as he is here. At his wounded heart, wounded hands and feet. We don't need to hide anything. Be just like a child that when he hurts himself, just runs to his mom. It's kind of silly to try to hide something and, thinking, okay, maybe 1 month more I will be better, I will get rid of this, I will improve no. Just naked truth. We are going to confession for healing. For healing. Naked truth. I am like this. Don't think about the priest that Jesus will use. Don't think about him. I am going to Jesus. I remember once my mom told me, I was still in primary school, and in our parish we had the pastor, the older priest, and the young priest. And there was the first Friday, so we went to confession. And before I left, I said to my mom, it was very stupid, but I said it. I said, Mom, if the pastor is there, I'm going to confession, but if the vicar is there, I'm not going. And you know what my mom told me? I remember it after, 30 years. She said, are you not ashamed of your sins before Jesus, but before the priest? You know, simple words. Yeah, I'm going to Jesus, doesn't matter who is going to listen to my confession. So, naked truth, I am like this. You know what helps me? Sometimes when I'm ashamed of something or upset with myself, I'm saying, Jesus, you knew this about me long time ago. And now I think I'm mature enough that you could reveal it to me. You know, that now I'm ready to see, you know, the truth about, to see it, who I really am. The sacrament of reconciliation is the best and the prior preparation for the Eucharist. And here I would like to, probably there is no need to speak about it in St. Anne's parish, but I would like to ask you sometimes to have the courage not to go to Holy Communion. Have the courage. If you are in the state of mortal sin, you cannot receive Holy Communion. Have the courage not to stand up. Come out of your pews and receive Jesus. We need to have in the state of grace, after good confession. This is what I mean. Jesus is waiting for us. He wants to be in communion with us. He said to Faustina, even among the sisters you will feel lonely. Know then that I want you to unite yourself more closely to me. I am concerned about every beat of your heart. Every stirring of your love is reflected in my heart. I thirst for your love. And Faustina responded, the most solemn moment of my life is the moment when I receive Holy Communion. I long for each Holy Communion, and for every Holy Communion I give thanks to the Most Holy Trinity. If the angels were capable of envy, they would envy us for two things. One is the receiving of Holy Communion, and the other is suffering. And she continued, I find myself so weak that were it not for Holy Communion, I would fall continually. One thing alone sustains me, and that is Holy Communion. From it I draw my strength. In it is all my comfort. I fear life on days when I do not receive Holy Communion. I fear my own self. And I think that it's nothing new when I say that every Eucharistic miracle, so Jesus, we know, Jesus is present in full. He's alive in every consecrated host. His life is there in full. And I think it's not a news here to say that every Eucharistic miracle recognized by the Church confirms that in the host sent to, tested by scientists, there is always the same DNA. Always the same. Of young men. maybe 2 or 3 years ago, another Eucharistic miracle happened in Poland. It was under investigation. I'm not sure if it's recognized already by the Church, so I don't know. But maybe a year after it happened, I heard an interview with a scientist. And this lady said, the material we received for testing is a part of a heart muscle of a young man in the anguish of agony. They came up with such an opinion after seeing the shape and the fiber crumbs of the muscle. The anguish of agony. This is Jesus present in every host. So we need to receive him worthily. Worthily. He's giving his life for me. I cannot ignore it. Faustina also wrote, during Holy Mass, I saw the crucified Jesus. Jesus was nailed to the cross and was in great agony. His suffering pierced me, soul and body, in manner which was invisible but nevertheless most painful. Oh, what awesome mysteries take place during Mass. And on another place, a great mystery is accomplished in the Holy Mass. With great devotion should we listen to and take part in this death of Jesus. One day we will know what God is doing for us in each Mass, and what sort of gift he is preparing in it for us. Only his divine love could permit that such a gift be provided for us. We are never alone. Jesus is in our hearts. Whatever is going on in our lives, it's good to remember, I am never alone. As long as I am in the state of grace, Jesus is present here. He said, only mortal sin makes me leave a soul. Otherwise, I'm present there. Sister Faustina said, I spent all my free moments at the feet of the Master, hidden in the Blessed Sacrament. He has been tutoring me from my most tender years. So, this is the food that transforms us into itself, into himself. He is the bread who transforms us into himself. Sister Faustina is present here. Now we will have opportunity, as last night, to venerate her relic. Also, it's a time when we can ask her for the graces we need, also to help us how to live out the Eucharist, how to live out the presence of the Lord, present here among us and in our hearts. Thank you. God bless you.
We didn't do Q&A in the morning.